Sandra! Welcome to another episode of Asexualize My Asexual Life. This is supposed to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. I share my asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, hit the great subscribe button down below right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go a new video. So, if you're new to this channel, if you don't know what asexuality is a sexual orientation that, in broad terms, is a lack of sexual attraction. But this doesn't mean to say that some asexuals don't still want affection. And by that, it can mean a lot of different things. But it can, of course, encompass touching, And so, living in this highly sexualized world that we live in, if you are a person who loves affection and lots of it and lots of touching and cuddling and kissing, all that type of thing, but you don't want sex, it can be very, very difficult. So what do you do? So some people they like to, who are asexual, like to cuddle their friends. I personally, as a romantic asexual, don't like to do this. I have strict boundaries with friends. I'll hug a friend to say hello and goodbye, but I will not sit there cuddling a friend. To me, that is a boundary that I won't cross. It's something that I only do in a romantic relationship. But obviously, you're your own person. You have to decide for yourself if that's something that you want to try or you like to do. Bear in mind that, if you're going to be in a relationship in the future, you have to understand that a person who's in a relationship with you in the future might not want that. So you'd have to get someone in the future that was comfortable with that, or tell your friends that it's out of the question to do that now. So for every action, obviously, you take in life, there's always going to be a reaction, and you have to decide what you want to do in the now to help yourself, to make yourself feel good and comfortable and awesome, and also what's going to happen in the future if you do meet someone, right? Because a lot of heterosexuals, for example, they would consider cuddling, if you were cuddling someone else, as cheating, right? Even if you're not having sex. And personally, as a romantic asexual person, if I was with a guy who started doing that as friends, I would also consider that too intimate and cheating, right? Because that's my boundary, that's my standard. So you have to establish what standards and boundaries you want for yourself, and the expectation that you have of yourself and others should you want to get into a relationship of some sort with someone. If you're just happy having friends, hanging out with your friends, and your friends love cuddling and you do as well, then, so as long as everyone's comfortable, there's no reason why you shouldn't do what makes you happy and what makes all parties comfortable. The secret is always consent, right? Because even if you're not having sex, you still need consent to be able to touch someone. This includes cuddling and this type of thing. Don't think just because you're an asexual person who likes, for example, stroking an arm or patting someone on the back, that is acceptable to the receiver. You have to make sure that they are happy with that. Like, I can cuddle people, a guy in a relationship, right? But not people in general, right? I can cuddle a guy in a relationship, but I don't want to cuddle people as in as in people outside a relationship. Like I said, the only thing that I have for my friends is a hug, hello, and goodbye. Now, years ago, I couldn't even do that. And I can do that to any asexuals that come to a meetup now. But there's some asexuals that aren't comfortable with any type of touching, particularly for someone they don't know, right? So I have to make sure that when I do that, I ask them to see if they are comfortable with it. You know what I mean? Because if they're not, then I shouldn't be doing that, right? So always find out what makes you happy in life. Search for, and try things out what makes you happy, but obviously with other people's consent as well, if it involves other people. Obviously, if you're lacking in affection, then you can get a pet. I know it's not the same as a human person, but animals are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful beings. And some asexuals, they prefer animals to actually humans, and they just get on so well with animals like dogs and cats. Cats particularly are a lot of the time. Thanks for the thumbs up, lots of love. Oh, Stevie, back to the normal setting, Sandra. Yes. I had some problems getting on YouTube though, because they've got a new studio. and it wouldn't let me go alive at first. So it's kind of like more complicated. But yeah, I've finished the journal. MakeMoneyMakeCash.com. The journal is that if you want to read my personal story. It's a story I haven't revealed before. It's quite an upsetting story actually. But anyway, the journal is amazing. I will be doing a video about that soon. But I wanted to do this stream first. So yeah, so we've talked about friendship, and you know, you need to consent if you want to cuddle your friends. So that's something we want to try. Next is pets. And like I said, a lot of asexuals tend to have cats. I'm a guinea pig person. I love guinea pigs. I don't have any living with me in my home anymore. You might have noticed on this thumbnail with some cages. That was an old picture, but I thought it's very appropriate considering it's talking about affection and I'm cuddling my cuddly toy. But Angel's 5 now. She lives with my parents, and I obviously you've seen her on the stream because she does come over and visit me for holidays sometimes. She's free of diabetes, so that's amazing. But I do love animals. I do miss not having guinea pigs here, but I have got used to being on my own, and my flat is getting very small and got lots of stuff going on in it at the moment. So yeah, as you can tell. So yeah, and she's very well looked after and used to living with my parents now. But I love seeing her. So yeah, so I do find it difficult sometimes, but you know, sometimes we just have to accept things the way they are in life. So, you know, but having pets is great. I mean, obviously, as I live in a flat, I'm very restricted to what pets I'm allowed. The landlords will let me keep anyway. So I couldn't have a dog, for example, and stuff like that. So, but you know, whatever your situation is, always make sure that you can take care of the pet, that you've got enough money for the pet. You know, don't just have it because you're lacking in affection, or this is a cute, fluffy thing, or have it for a time and then I'll neglect it, or won't be able to have the money to afford to keep it. You know, make sure if you get a pet that it's coming from a place of love and caringness for the pet, not of some kind of self need that needs fulfilling on your part. And that's the main reason you should always have a pet, because you love having a pet, because you love the pet, because you've got its best interests at heart. You know, like, you know, I had to give my guinea pig up to my parents, which is the best people to give it up to if you're going to, but I haven't given her up as in she's still mine, she's still my daughter. But because she had diabetes, you know, I couldn't inject her. I had a panic attack in the vet, so I can't inject. And I'm really got a phobia of blood and all that type of thing. So I did try in the vets, and it was just absolutely horrendous. I was just crying uncontrollably, and you can't have that, you know. And they were like, "Oh, if you don't get a home for her within 24 hours, we're gonna have to put her to sleep, basically." And you know, she didn't actually look like there was much wrong with her apart from blind with cataracts from the diabetes at that time. So it was really, really hard for me. You know, I had to make a decision basically for my mum to take her the next day. But my mum looks after her so well. She gets so loads of treats, and she's really well looked after. And I'm glad she went and was looked after by my parents, not some stranger, you know. So I can still see her. You know, I don't see her as much as I like, but I can still see her. So, you know, it's very important, you know, and that I had to come from a place of love. You know, I have to put her first. She's free of diabetes now. Completely clear. She's had 2 tests this year so far, and she's back to normal. But at the moment, I don't have the funds to have her here because, you know, I'm off from my day job still with my ankle issue still continuing. I don't talk about it much, but yeah, my ankle's still recovering from the break it had in April. So I'm not going out much at all. But yes, so make sure you have a pet for the right reasons. Don't just have it because you're feeling like you need affection in that moment and that's why you're having it. So it's kind of like similar to what I said the other day in a stream I did. It's like, you know, don't get into a relationship because you're lonely. That's not the right way to get into a relationship, because it comes from a selfish place, and it comes from a place where, you know, I'm not saying that's not one of the reasons, you know, like obviously if you're feeling lonely and you want some affection, then a pet is really good to have. But I'm not saying you can't feel that way, but what I'm saying is you shouldn't base the fact you're getting something on that particular thing, because it's the wrong reason to do it. How long do you think it will be until your ankle will be healed, Sandra? I've gone silent because last time I spoke to the physio, they said because of all the stress I'm under with something I can't talk about publicly at the moment, but if you read my journal page, you might be interested to read it. But I can't talk about something public at the moment, but I'm off with work-related stress and basically my ankle break. And the physio said that because of this particular stress situation that I am I'm dealing with it as best as I can at the moment. And the mind self journal that I've just released and the mind self journal that I've just released is amazing and really helping me loads, really truly helping me loads. I'm so glad I've got it and doing it every day. It's really helping me loads. But yeah, the physio said because of the issues I'm having with the stress is causing more pain in my body, it's slowing my healing down. And so they don't that they told me last time they do not know when my ankle's going to get better. That's what the physio actually told me. Did you recently release a book? Is it for sale? It's not it's a journal, an e-journal. And yeah, on makemoneymakecash.com, the actual website, it's a new website that I set up. There's actually the journal on there. It's a monthly subscription, $5 at the moment, though. It's on special offer till the end of the month. So basically, I'll show you quickly. But yeah, it's incredible. Because obviously I love writing books. It changed lives, and this changed mine. Look how big it is. This is a journal. So and at the moment it's on special offer for $5 every month, but you get a new version of it per month. And you get free stuff to help the mind. So because I do a lot of mind work. So yeah, this is I'll show you anyway. This is a mind self journal. And this has really changed my life. I mean, my productivity has tripled since I've been using this. And I'm getting so much done. And my mind, even though I'm still like wake up, like stressed, when I do this, my mind's so much more focused and better than it was, and so much more positive if I just do all the stuff in here. So this is as you can see, this is a 549 page journal. So yeah, I would definitely get it. I mean, you get a new one. So basically you get some stuff that's the same every month, and you get like quotes and questions that are different to raise more self-awareness. But the whole thing just increases the productivity. So this is like what I've been doing, you know? This is all the stuff. And it is absolutely amazing. I'm not just saying that because I created it. I created it because I knew it would help me. And if people want to, I mean, I've already got one Asexual that bought it straight away. They signed up for, you can buy it separately, by the way. It's more expensive separately, but you can buy the one and then reuse it over and over again. So I've done a $5 deal or $25 if you want to buy it. But obviously it's worth it. I mean, you know, look at everything that you get in it. So you can go to the makemoneymakecash.com site now, and you can actually just get it, buy it, and download it. And there's a free bonus as well about how to effectively deal with difficult emotion thoughts and feelings. Stuff I've used myself that really works. So I spent ages on this. This is what I've been working on this for like 3 weeks. It took me 8 days to actually create the journal itself, all the pages. I was already using some stuff before, but I put it all in a journal. And so I was doing some of this stuff before, but it wasn't actually in a journal. So yeah, Stevie, I would definitely recommend getting it. So you can either get the one and then you just continually use it every single day for the rest of your life, the same one, or you can subscribe on a monthly membership, which is like $5, which is like a price of a cup of coffee, isn't it? At the moment, this is on special offer till the end of August. And then, you know, you get a new one every month. And then I'm probably going to be doing there's a free bonus, like I said, with this month. And sometimes there'll be free stuff that I'm doing as well, trainings and stuff in the future. But I mean, you got pages as well. But I mean, I've used it loads. I mean, I'm still doing it. But you know what I mean? There's tons. I mean, obviously you don't have to write neatly because you're not really, you know what I mean? But every day now, there's stuff in it like you know, creating happy lists and what you're going to include, and daily planners, you know, this type of thing. So you know, like, and affirmations, and there's stuff to fill in, and there's clarity, questions and quotes. These change every month. Oh, cool. How about your asexual book you've been working on? So, my asexual book, I have to finish still. So I'm definitely going to be finished. That's Asexual Guide to Sex. So at the moment, I've just released that. So I spent 3 weeks because I had to learn a lot of skills. If you go to makemoneymakecash.com, it's a new website. I've already had the domain for a while, and I've got the channel. But if you go there, I had to learn loads of skills. So I had to do a training course on how to use the software that the page is built on, because it's done in sections. I actually bought the software years ago, but I couldn't get it to work. But I got it to work finally on this new website. I had to set up the website, do the logo, and there's stuff on the back end, like behind the scenes, I had to do for it. And now I had to learn how to use the software. So I did a training course for that. My personal story I wrote, but I wrote it in such a structured, certain way for the website, for it to like, for people to be able to understand the story and how it relates to the journal. Because I created a journal saved my life, basically, if you didn't know that. But I don't really talk about that on this channel. It's a bit of a sad story, and I haven't been able to reveal it before. So anyway, yeah, a journal saved my life, but it wasn't actually this journal, but this is a journal I've created since then. And I love it. I mean, I recommend everyone to get this journal. It's literally amazing. Really helps me like focus and get clarity. But yeah, the Asexual Guide to Sex. So I had to take 3 weeks. So it's taken me 22 days to work on this. I only just finished it in the early hours of yesterday morning. So I've still got to promote this. So I'll be doing that, and then I'll be going back to work on the Asexual Guide to Sex book. So I've actually got the Asexual Guide to Sex book open on my desktop, but I haven't been able to do anything for it because for 3 weeks I had to go off and do this because my intuition told me to just do this. So I had to go and do it because I just have to do what my intuition tells me to do, because I believe this will save lives, this journal, and help people be more productive and help people have more clarity in their life, which and more gives them more confidence. And gives there's stuff in there that will give you more confidence, more self-esteem, focus your mind, give you more clarity. This is all the stuff it does for me. And I've seen a dramatic improvement in myself since I've been using it. So that's why I wanted to get it out to as many people as possible on a special offer. So literally, it took me ages to actually design the thing, because I had to use different software tools to even design the pages, because I've got an old version of Word, so I can't just design everything in Word. I had to design it in some other software, then downloaded it, then stick it in Word, and then put it in certain, I had to basically change the margins and everything individually. It's kind of a long story, but yeah. But yeah, so the Asexual Guide to Sex I was working on last month, and then I stopped to do this journal because I needed to get my mind sorted myself. So I needed to sort my mind out completely. So this journal, basically, I had different bits of it that I was doing, like affirmations here and some planning here and some stuff over there, and it was all kind of everywhere and spread everywhere, and I needed it all in one place. So I create this journal for me, but I knew it would help others as well. So I've done it specifically to help me, and then I know it's going to help others, which is why I wanted to get it out. I'm like, people have got to know about this journal. They really have, because it's changed my life, and it can change theirs too. And it's just, at the moment, I'm doing it really low, really, really low cost, because you imagine how many hours of work it's taken me to produce all this stuff. It's a lot of hours, and it's done in such a way to rewire your brain for success and happiness. Like it's making me really a lot more focused. So yeah, the Asexual Guide to Sex book, I still got to finish that. But once I've done this, then that's my main goal, because I keep doing bits of the Asexual Guide to Sex book on and off, but I need to finally finish it because I've got a lot of people waiting for it. But my intuition told me to do the journal. It said you need to get it out, and I needed to do it for myself. And then I thought I'll release it at the same time to others. But it took me a long time because, like I said, I had stuff spread everywhere. And so when you've got stuff spread everywhere, it's not as effective. And the way it's it's structured in such a way for maximum impact to rewire your brain for success. Because I know quite a lot about psychology, and basically from the age of 0 to 7, we're programmed with conditioning from parents and teachers and peers, and some of that conditioning is not always a good thing. You know, if we've had some childhood trauma or any neglect or abuse, or anything that, excuse me, that negative experience as a child carries on throughout adulthood, and it can have a deep impact, and you have to kind of get those roots of those negative emotions uplifted, rooted out of you, and also be able to more effectively handle negative emotions in a more positive, manageable way. Otherwise they just take over you. And so that's I've been training and learning stuff about the super conscious mind. It's getting quite deep, so I don't really talk about it much on this channel. But I did a course last month. I did a course and a webinar about the super conscious mind and about how to rewire your brain. I've already done some previous work on it, but it wasn't as effective as I thought it would be. So I learnt more about super conscious part of your brain rather than just subconscious. So that's what I've been kind of working on. But yeah, so the Asexual Guide to Sex book. I've got to promote this. This is August's edition, so I've got to do a September edition as well soon. But then I'll be promoting this, and then I'll be back working on the Asexual Guide to Sex book, and then I'll be focusing on that. That'll be my main focus. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. I just needed to do this journal first because I needed my life in more organization and my mind not to be so chaotic, because when your emotions are all over the place you can't be as productive, you can't get as much done. It just clutters your mind and it makes you feel not so good, and when you're not feeling good you don't give your best. So I'll be able to do more focused work on the book and be able to get it finished, I think, a lot quicker than I have been, because I'll be much more focused. um yeah, so I'm definitely going to finish it. It needs to be out. It's supposed to have been out months ago, but I keep having things crop up, some of which I can't talk about on here. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to talk publicly about some stuff at the moment, but um, I am going to finish the book. It's going to be an amazing book. I've got quite a huge campaign for it planned. And so yeah, it's going to be really good and exciting. Um, so yes, I better get back to the topic of today's video, which is about affection. Um, so obviously, talking about affection when you don't want sex, obviously one of the most important things to do is self-love, which leads nicely from what I was just talking about. So that, if you are having problems with yourself and your mind and having negative emotions come up, you know, um, one of the best things you can do is give yourself lots of affection and care, because a lot of the time we can talk to ourselves negatively without even realizing it. And one of the ways we can be more affectionate towards ourselves, even if it's not necessarily touching, although I do recommend hugging yourself, I really do. And I recommend this. Like I had someone else on a video once talk about hugging yourself, and I thought she was just far out crazy and weird, and that was really strange, and it made me like eek. And then as I've grown to love myself more, I'm like, yeah, you should be doing that as a practice, hugging yourself. It's okay, Sandra, great book, it's worth the wait. Oh, thank you, Stevie. Oh, that's really sweet, thank you. I'm trying to do my best with it. There's a lot more content I added which I wasn't expecting to add to the Asexual Guide to Sex, but it's very imperative. It's a lot. There's like more stuff on relationship advice, like healthy relationships, which I wasn't originally doing. So I kind of diverged a bit. But if you're going to have sex or intimacy or even affection with someone, you need to be able to trust who you're doing that with, and you need to be able to have healthy relationship, which includes healthy boundaries, which is kind of like similar to what we're talking about anyway. um and I've had a lot of experience with guys who aren't good, which guys who was abusive in some ways towards me. Hello again, Jahanzeb Hamid Khan. Oh, hello. Nice to see you again. Now I remember you. Lots of love to you. So yeah, so in the past I've had lots of relationships which have been abusive, and I've had unhealthy relationships, but now I know what a healthy relationship looks like, you know? And I've got healthy friendships. So I didn't have healthy friendships when I was a child, and I didn't have healthy relationships in the past, romantic relationships. But I've learned a lot through because I do a lot of dating and relationship training myself. I do a lot of training myself. Like, okay, bye. I guess good luck with your talks. Oh, thank you. So I've had a lot of like training in that. And so basically that's why I talk a lot about dating relationships on here, because I've got a lot of I've learned a lot of stuff. And I used to have unhealthy friendships years ago, but now I've got very healthy friendships, you know? And so I've learned a lot about what people look like when they're not healthy. And that's a big part of what I've wanted to include in the book. Because if you're not having, if you're going to have intimacy, so we're talking about affection as a form of intimacy, sex as a form of intimacy, sharing secrets with someone is a form of intimacy, right? And if you're going to do that, you need to be able to trust them, and you need to be able to have healthy relationships where it's a friendship or a romantic relationship, right? Or queer platonic relationship. And so it's very important part of the book that I've decided to include in there, because I want people who themselves into a situation where they might have sex for it to be a healthy relationship they're in before they do that. Because if they're not in that, it can end up very controlling, very abusive, very manipulating, and and the person can really regret having sex with that type of person, because obviously they're giving their virginity away to someone they didn't even know was no good for them and didn't see that. So I just want to give some help as much as possible for that, you know. But if we're talking about, like, what do you do if you're an asexual that wants affection but not sex? Like I said, obviously, if your friends are up for cuddling, then you could do that. But obviously, that might have to change if you get into a relationship with someone else who doesn't like that. You'd have to decide whether you could be with someone who didn't like that, or whether that you might change anyway. You could get a pet, like I said, make sure it's from a place of loving the pet first and foremost. But also, if you don't, I mean, I don't cuddle friends, right? So I don't get affection from friends like that, apart from a hug, hello, and goodbye, right? But obviously, you can be affectionate in terms of words. You know how loving you express something. You don't even have to say you love the person. It's how you express yourself to someone. Stevie, I relate a lot to unhealthy friendships. I had friends backstab, manipulate, use me, and just be utterly hurtful. Luckily, I got out of them, but I still miss having friends. But I want true friends. Yeah, Stevie. I'm glad you can relate, because I thought that was an important part to add to the book. Because I didn't understand about unhealthy relationships. I wasn't taught any of this type of stuff growing up, and so if I'd understood that the people I was getting into a relationship with were unhealthy and bad for me, I would have probably thought twice about letting them do stuff with me, you know? And especially if I had a lot more self-love and care. So, which I didn't have back then, because I wasn't taught these type of things really. I was taught to always respect my body, and my body's my own, and don't let anyone do stuff to me that I don't want to have done. But I wasn't taught about boundaries, assertiveness. I wasn't taught about what to look out for as signs of manipulation or unhealthy relationship. And I've got really good friendships now, so I know what to look out for in terms of relationship, because a relationship should be based on bestest ever friendship anyway. And if someone who's interested in a relationship with you is not even matching up to the standards that you have with your best friends, which are healthy, then they're no good for you to be in a relationship with. Not at that point in their life, anyway, if ever. Because some people, they just are in a bad place in their life, or they just haven't learnt their lessons for themselves. But others are just downright manipulators, and whoever they get with, they'll just try and manipulate. They're just bad for to be in a relationship with. And I do have like three best friends. One I don't doesn't speak to me that much, to be honest. So the other two I'm much closer to, in the sense that they keep in contact with me most days. And they are all my true friends. And and it's important. So I have like a few close friends, and then obviously I have some more friends that aren't as close that I talk to every now and then. And then obviously I have this channel where I talk to you loads. You're like my asexual family. I missed you guys so much when I was off here when YouTube shut me down for a while. Um, so I think it's because I talk about a lot of controversial and taboo topics, like obviously the title of this is like wanting affection but not sex, but it's true, I'm in a lot of asexual groups, and a lot of asexuals, they really crave, for example, cuddles. They really crave cuddles and to just have someone close to them. And I think this is what's really difficult for asexuals. If you're an asexual person who's not touch adverse, who's not touch repulsed, if you're asexual who likes physical affection, as in cuddles and kisses and holding hands, any of the above or all of them, some like sharing a bed and just being cuddled close. There's a lot of asexuals that talk about spooning. I have to let you know, if you haven't seen a previous video of mine, spooning has a sexual meaning. Even though lots of asexuals use it, you have to be very careful. If you want to date a sexual person, don't go around saying to them, I like spooning, just leave it at that. Spooning is a sex position. That's what it is, right? So when I came to the asexual community and I was seeing on one of the asexual sites, for example, ace-book.net, I was seeing lots of people go, oh, I'm a spooner. I'm into spooning. And I was thinking, really? And I was seeing loads of people come up. And of course, they meant that they're cuddling. Like one person's a big spoon, the other person's a little spoon. And so the big person's like a big spoon's cuddling behind them. But in sex, it's where the guy has sex from behind with the woman. So the woman's in front of the little spoon, and the guy is having sex from behind her. So someone was curiously asking me, how does that actually work the other day? They were asexual, actually, the person asked. But I don't think they really wanted to know. I think they were just like, how can that happen? I know it happens because I've done that position myself before in my sexual past. This is like going back nearly 10 years now. You have to understand I've been sex-free 10 years in November, right? Which I'm happy about. But I have done that position. And so I'm not going to go into detail in here because I think you'd be grossed out by it. But that's how I know about it, yes. So it's kind of like a strange position, but it's kind of like, it just kind of does happen with someone, because I let my ex just get on with whatever he wanted with my consent, obviously, like whatever position he wanted to try, I just was up for it, really. I was just like, okay, just go with it, but he didn't, he didn't do anything I didn't want to do. If I wanted to stop, I'd just say I want to stop. So this is my last long-term ex. So yeah, I've learned so much about friendship and what is healthy from you. Oh, thank you, Stevie. That's wonderful. I used to think it was my fault and I was a bad person. I'm glad I got away from thinking like that. Oh, I'm really glad that I helped you. Oh, that's really nice to know, because obviously when I'm writing such a book like Asexual Guide to Sex, I have to admit it's such a big deal for me. I think that's why I'm taking my time as well, because I am a little bit nervous because I'm like, I want to get it right, but I'm not perfect. I've got to realize that I'm not perfect. That the book is not going to be a perfect book. There is no such thing as perfection. So I'm going to have to just get it out there. But I am a bit tentative because of this context, the subject matter. It's very it's very, like, I feel like asexual lives are in my hands in that book, and I've got to help them and look after them and protect them as much as possible, whilst also letting them find out things for themselves, discover things, and they're going to make their own mistakes as well. Thanks for the thumbs up. Lots of love to you. So I'm really, really pleased and positive to hear that I've helped you a lot to understand what healthy is. And no, it's not your fault. You're not a bad person. I'm glad you got away from thinking like that. I mean, I had friends when I was a kid and it was just all one-sided. It was me phoning them a lot of the time, at times convenient to them, and it was kind of me making the effort all the time. And I don't want that type of thing again, and if you ever find a relationship is going that way, it's never going to work. It just isn't. And it's okay to have high standards. I thought growing up, well, I didn't really understand about standards, really. I thought kind of like, I thought like saying what you wanted was a bad thing. Like, you're too demanding, or Oh, hi, Marcelo. Lots of love. Good night to you. Lots of love. Um, so I thought like years ago that, that saying what you wanted, like, would come across as demanding or, and you weren't supposed to do that. And I've learned over about Liam. Hi, beautiful Sandra. Great to see you. Lots of love to you. Nice to see you, Liam. So I've learned over the years, especially because I've been following dating coaches a lot over the last few years, and I've been learning a lot of stuff, and I've been observing stuff, and obviously having my own experiences. And it's okay to set your standards high. In fact, you should be setting them high. They should have like standards that you want in a relationship. And if that person can't meet those standards, it's not that they're necessarily a bad person or you're a bad person. It's they're not right for you. And it's good to have high standards, good to have standards. It means it might be more difficult for you to get someone, but at the end of the day, it's better to have high standards and have less people qualify for more the right quality people, right? And I also learned we get what we tolerate in life. So if we allow people to treat us like, oh, we can just they can just like, it's all one-sided and you're doing all the work all the time, and you carry on allowing that, then you are basically not having very high standards and you're accepting that behavior. There was a friend that I'd known for a very long time at school, and first school, secondary, primary, secondary, and college. And I went over to her house like at Christmas usually, but it got to the stage where she was making basically I thought she was just making up the fact she was poorly in the end because she cancelled like 3 times every time she says you were ill. And I just guess we had become different people. Like I still like her, I still think she's a lovely person. I'm a lovely person, she's a lovely person. We're both lovely people, but just I'm not really her kind of person anymore, right? Because I'm loud, bubbly, different, and she did say actually it's got nothing to do with me, that she's like that with a lot of people. She just prefers to be with her daughters, and that's pretty much it. But I know she hangs out with one of the friends that we both knew from school. But at the end of the day, I turned around and said to her in the end that I see every time I'm, arranging to meet up with you that that you cancel saying you're poorly, and I think it's best if I don't come over and see you because I don't think it's what you really want. Basically, I said it something like that, and they agreed, and they said it's not you, me, it's them, just the way they are, and they're like it with everyone. And I said that I deserve better. I deserve basically someone who wants to be having me in their company. And they said, yeah, Stevie, I definitely had to raise my standards. No more second best. Yeah, it's really important, Stevie. It's really important. It's very important to have high standards, and it does make it more difficult to find a relationship. I mean, for me, I find it very difficult. I'm a very affectionate person, and in a relationship, I really need a lot of affection. Like it's one of the things that I really do need. And I do miss kissing. I mean, there was a thread in a group, asexual group on Facebook, and someone asked about what do you think about kissing? And like compared to the majority of people there, I'm a very exceptional case where I just adore kissing so much. There wasn't many people there. I mean, I was the only one that said I'm a hyper romantic and hyper kisser. There's a few people that said they like kissing, but the majority didn't like it, or they like little pecks on the cheek or little forehead kisses. Some of them had never had a kiss before. Some of them thought it was disgusting. Quite a few of them thought it was disgusting and mixing saliva and all gross. And so for me, reading that, it's quite disheartening because it's kind of like, how am I going to find someone suitable for a relationship with the amount of kissing that I want, or even close to what I want? It's going to be very, very difficult. And in the UK now, they're bringing in vaccine passports for clubs. So I used to go and I used to kiss guys in clubs to kind of get my kissing needs met. I had to separate my romantic nature and wanting to be in a relationship from the reality of the fact that these guys in clubs who are sexual guys probably won't want to be in a relationship with me because I'm not having sex with them. So all it would be is like kissing, and that would be it. Of course, part of my brain was like, oh, I would still like to have a Indian asexual guy show up one day at this club. Will it ever happen? Maybe, maybe not. Probably not. Anyway, I can't get vaccinated because I've got too many allergies, and so that pretty much shuts me out of quite a lot of stuff in the UK now, including clubbing from next month. I'm not I can club at the moment anyway because my ankle problem, but that was how I got my kissing needs met. So I'm kind of like, what am I going to do now? Because I get very, very passionate about. I get kissing sick. I feel sick because I haven't kissed in so long, and it's very difficult probably for anyone to understand that. It's like being homesick, but it's with kissing, and so it's very difficult. Liam, I don't have any standards. Even if I dated, I don't have standards. Oh, bless you, Liam. Well, you should have standards, but it's up to you, isn't it? Because if you don't have standards, people walk all over you. And and people can treat you badly, which is not good. Um so I mean, obviously in any relationship you have to kind of compromise to a certain extent, but you shouldn't be compromising who you are as a whole person, and you shouldn't be like lowering your standards in terms of like doing things you don't want to do and making you unhappy. I mean, you do some stuff that you're not particularly fond of, because if you care about someone, if they like doing something, you want to see them happy, then you do that if it's not harming you. For example, our next asexual meetup, which is on the 3rd of September, which I'm really looking forward to. It's the first one since last lockdown I broke my ankle. Um I don't know how my ankle's gonna get on, but in the museum it's free and there's places to sit down, so I'm gonna have a go. Because it'll be good for my mental health anyway. So, yes, I'm doing that, and I forgot my point now. But I was talking. Oh, that's with my asexual best friend, and I've got some other asexual friends that I haven't met in person yet coming, and I'm digressing a lot. But yes, we get treated how we allow people to treat us. But I was saying about kissing that for me it's very difficult in terms of like, how am I going to get my kissing needs met now, because I get so craving for kissing. Like, I don't need a relationship, but I do need kissing. And so it's very difficult for me. Um but I noticed a lot of asexuals, they do still a lot of them still crave affection, particularly cuddles. I'm more of a kisser person than a cuddler person, which is very unusual again. Unusual because stereotypically females probably prefer cuddling. Stereotypically, cuddling's a very romantic thing, and I'm very romantic. Um, and I just think overall the majority of asexuals prefer cuddling, but I don't. I prefer kissing. You know what I mean? They kind of go hand in hand to a certain extent, but usually I'm kissing. Stevie, I find it weird that people can't fathom someone could want affection without sex. Like, there are types of affection not even related to sexuality. Yeah. Um, you know, um, like one of the types of affections is just talking nicely to someone, like giving them, the way you speak to someone is affectionate without even touching them. Do you know what I mean? The way you can just look at someone and smile at them and care about someone without ever actually touching them, and things like, gestures you do for them, that's kind of like a form of a non-physical affection when someone's doing it for an act for you, like acts of service in a from a place of love and compassion and caringness and kindness. That is a form of affection, but not physical, if you know what I mean. Because it's a form of like love, but without the sex and without the physicality. Um, Liam, I don't interact with people much. People don't need to know me, so I don't really have or need. I don't interact with people much. People don't need to know me, so I don't really have or need standards. Mm, Well, it's up to you, Liam. What what you feel comfortable with. It's not up to me to tell you really what you should and shouldn't do. I just think it's more healthy for a person to have standards. Um, but when I say standards, it's not about like not accepting others for who they are. Because years ago, I used to have like a thing where I couldn't really talk to people, for example, who smoked. This is going back when I was a kid because I was so anti-smoking back then that any person that had a cigarette, I would tell off, including and even including people who drank alcohol, like my old headmaster from primary school. I used to go around telling him off. Like that's how outspoken I was. Like you shouldn't be drinking. And so, but nowadays I'm like, if people want to drink alcohol, that's up to them. It's not up to me to tell them what to do. And if they're smoking, I don't want them smoking around me because I don't want to have that in my lungs. But if they're a smoker, I'll still talk to them. I won't not talk to them. Whereas years ago, I would be so rigid in the people that I talked to that if they weren't like me, really, or they were doing anything that I didn't like, I wouldn't talk to them at all. But I realized being so rigid, you end up with no friends and not many people talking to you. So over the years, I've become a lot more relaxed. And obviously, in a relationship, I don't want a smoker. And there's a major reason for this is because literally, if you saw my videos, you would notice years ago that I dated a heterosexual guy. I had one night of dating him and kissing him, and he was a smoker, and I don't usually kiss smokers. And when I was there kissing him, I didn't have a problem, which I was shocked by. But it was kissing adrenaline because when I got back home, as soon as I got through the door, I was literally throwing up and I was coughing so much. It was like I'd swallowed an ashtray and I had a chest infection for 7 weeks, and I couldn't speak. There's a time on this channel where I just lost my voice. And so that was a major time I lost my voice. And so, I can't actually be in a relationship with someone who's a smoker. It's no good for me because I like kissing. I can't have that. That's to do with a health issue for me. So I really can't be like that. But like if I had a friend and they happen to smoke, I wouldn't want them to do it around me because I'm just no good for my lungs anyway. But I couldn't stop them. They might be doing it and trying to push it out, like smoke out the way of me. I prefer it not in my face though. Because one of my housemates, I got two of my housemates moving out, which is I live in a flat on my own, but in the middle of a house, so I've kind of got housemates as well. And two of them are moving out, and I've known one of them for as long as I've lived here. And but she used to smoke outside, but it used to go in my window, and so that's very bad for my lungs. Stevie, I relate to being angry about smoking. It killed my grandfather. Oh my god. When I see people smoking, it takes me back every time. So I tell people they need to quit because it can kill them. Oh, I'm glad you understand, Stevie. I'm really glad you understand that. I'm sorry it killed your grandfather. I have never ever even tried smoking in my life. I just haven't done it. Um I've never smoked drugs in my life either. I've never tried them. I'm shocked actually at how many female friends have tried that in their life, and I've never even wanted to try it. I just don't like that type of thing. I am very anti-smoking. And I prefer really to be in a relationship with a guy who didn't drink alcohol, but I know that I might have to accept that he drinks some because most guys do. Some foreign guys don't know, but a lot of them do. But it's because of the alcohol. Tasting. If I'm kissing a guy and he tastes of alcohol, and I hate the taste of alcohol, and I'm allergic to sugar as well, so if I'm kissing him I'm getting a sugar dose. And so it's kind of like do you know what I mean? It's kind of like I would prefer it if he didn't drink. Smoking's completely out. I would prefer it if he didn't drink alcohol, but I think he might drink alcohol, so I might have to accept that about him. But I also had a bad experience years ago, which I don't talk about much. I don't know if I've mentioned it on this channel actually. One of my ex-boyfriends, his brother fell on me when he was drunk, and I was a teenager at the time, and his whole weight went on me, and it really put me off alcohol and drink. And that particular boyfriend, I did have some of his drink once, but when he was drinking, he used to get very sexually touching me, and I hated that as well. So I don't have good experiences with past guys in my life with alcohol, really, and it just really turns me off, to be quite frank with you. So that's why I prefer a guy ideally who didn't drink alcohol, because I gave that up at 19 years in birth certificate age. So I just don't do the stuff. I don't drink it. I don't have a need for it. I could see how someone would get drunk. I was never drunk, but I could see how someone would get drunk, and I thought, I'm not having this. So I just stopped drinking. Also, I don't eat red meat. I don't eat pork, lamb, or beef. So I prefer someone who didn't do that. And as we're on the topic of affection, that it does, like if you're kissing someone and you're close to someone, you got all their smells and their sounds and their tastes. It's to do with the senses. So you kind of like want pleasant senses. You know what I mean? If you're kissing someone, you want their mouth to be as pleasant as possible. I have kissed guys in the past that have ate red meat. Like, it's very weird doing that, but I have done it because I understand that a guy might do that. I just definitely can't have him smoking. And I prefer, like, because I want to live separately from a guy. Like, I don't really want him cooking. Ideally, I don't want him cooking red meat around my place, not really. But if he's gonna do that, then he can cook for himself and wash it all up after himself. And that I buy paper plates anyway, so you just chuck the plates away, you know. And so I just find that being asexual and a person, for example, like I am, who's really does crave kissing as a form of affection. Well, just I love kissing in and of itself, right? The whole act, the whole thing. Regardless, I have to be with a guy because I'm only into guys. It has to be someone I'm aesthetically attracted to, because I can't kiss someone I'm not aesthetically attracted to, and usually romantic attracted to as well in some way. So, but it's very difficult for asexuals to get that. There are obviously cuddling groups as well. Again, I wouldn't go to them personally because I don't believe it's right to cuddle someone outside a relationship, even though I'm okay with kissing outside a relationship. I give myself permission to do that, but obviously I wouldn't be doing that if I was in a relationship. So I think, like, if you're an asexual who wants affection without sex as well, if you do get into a relationship with someone, you have to, especially if it's a sexual person, you have to literally let the sexual person know exactly what affection means to you and how far you be prepared to let them go in terms of physical touching. Because if you don't set that boundary and standard from the beginning, then they might try and do whatever they want and think that that's okay because you didn't tell them otherwise. So it's very important that if you get into a relationship, even if you get into a relationship with another asexual person, that you both discuss, you both discuss what physical touching you like, what your limitations, what do you like to do, what do you not like to do, what could you compromise on. It's very important you discuss all this stuff. And my heart does go out to every asexual that I see in groups that do want affection. They want to be cuddled so much. They want to be held. Sometimes when you've had a bad day, all you just want is a cuddle, right? And it's very difficult to get that in this day and age where sex is usually the agenda for a lot of people, in relationships. And so it's very important that you think of ways that you can satisfy that needs, but also, you have to take into account that you might not be able to get into a relationship for a very long time. Another thing is having cuddly toys. Like, I love my cuddly toys. I love cuddling cuddly toys. It makes me feel all warm and glowing and makes me feel really good. So I never get tired of cuddly toys. However old my birth certificate age is. But I think, like, it's very difficult if you're asexual to, like, satisfy your affectionate needs. And I do really understand you because I have those needs as well. And sometimes you're like, oh, I just want someone there. So if you're an asexual that feels like that, I want you to know that I relate and I understand you, and that, all we can do is our best. And we can, if we do have any arrangements with someone to cuddle or kiss or whatever with them, we just have to make sure that we've got our standards and we've got our boundaries in place and that we're assertive. So if we are having a cuddling type of relationship with someone that's just cuddling or just kissing or something like that, you have to understand that usually one of the people involved would end up having more feelings than just friendship for you. And also, you know, you have to understand what you're getting yourself into. You'd have to make sure your boundaries were in place. Like if I went, like when I used to go clubbing, I used to have strict boundaries where the guys were not allowed to touch me and where they were allowed to touch me. Because if I'm actually in an intimate romantic relationship with someone, I'd let them be a lot more closer to me usually than I would in a club. I have to go now, Sandra. Great talk as always. Congratulations on your journal. Can't wait for the asexual book to come out. See you later. Okay, Stevie, I'm gonna go anyway now because it's getting late here. I've been on for most of an hour, so it's lovely to see you. Thank you so much. Lovely to talk to you. Nice of you to be here. And Marcelo and Liam and Jahanzeb Hamid Khan. Lots of love. Nice to see you, Stevie. And I hope everyone's enjoyed the stream today. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now, post a new video. Lots of love. See you soon. Take care, Stevie. Lots of love, everyone. Bye.